Let's talk javelin performance. Stiff javelins fly farther. So when you buy an expensive javelin, you're getting a stiff javelin that's going to help you break your PR and win competitions, okay? So Fourth Rows has 3 different levels of javelins. We have our training javelin, our competition javelin, and our elite javelin. Now, the difference between these is the stiffness. So the training javelin is the least stiff, right? The competition is the Goldilocks zone, right, the middle. And then the elite javelin is the stiffest for your elite athletes. One other difference is our training javelins can be used in competition, but we don't guarantee that. But we do guarantee that our competition javelins will weigh in at competition as well as our elite javelins. That's one of the key differences. Also, one of the differences between the javelins is that our training javelins are chrome plated, which is fine, but our competition javelin and our elite javelins are made out of stainless steel, so they will last a lot longer and they will not rust. There is some advantages, though, in a softer javelin. Yes, it will not fly as far. However, a soft javelin is less damaging on the joints when you're a new athlete. So when you come in freshman year of high school, asking a guy to throw an 800-gram javelin sometimes is a little too much. And so by having a less stiff javelin, it prevents injury and allows you to take more throws with it. However, if you're throwing in competition, you need to break a record, you definitely want a stiff javelin. Now, the reason why stiff javelins fly farther is because they are able to pierce through the air when they are thrown, whereas a soft javelin will actually flutter through the air like this in slow motion. It's hitting a lot of air, and therefore it's not very aerodynamic. So if you need a javelin to fly far, you need a stiff javelin, and that's what you're paying for. The Fourth Rows line of javelins have 3 levels: a trainer, competition, and elite level javelin. And the difference between these 3 javelins is the stiffness of them. The trainer is the softest, the competition is the middle, and the elite is a very stiff javelin, for elite athletes. Okay. There are actually a few advantages in a soft javelin, though. The 2 being is they're really good for athletes that have suffered an injury in their joints or athletes that are starting out, because both injured athletes and beginner athletes have weak joints, whether that be the elbow or the shoulder for javelin throwers. So soft javelins are easier on the joints, and it prevents, a second injury or even injury in the first place. So coaches, if you have a beginner athlete, a freshman that shows up, you do not want to give them a stiff javelin. You want to give them a low or medium javelin, which is our trainer javelin or our competition javelin, for beginner athletes to be easy on their joints, okay? But if an athlete is an elite athlete that is throwing far, you want to get them a very stiff javelin because the javelin is going to fly farther. This is our competition and elite level javelins. Our training javelins are built to be economical. So their tips, this bottom metal part, the tip on our training javelins are chrome plated. However, one of the advantages of our competition and elite level javelins is these tips are made of stainless steel. So they are definitely going to last a lot longer as they cannot rust. A second advantage of our competition and elite level javelins is that they are both weighed and measured at our warehouse to ensure that they are competition ready. So Fourth Rows guarantees with the purchase of any competition or elite javelin that they are guaranteed to weigh in at competition. The biggest difference between our 3 levels of javelins is the stiffness, measured in the meter rating. So our female training javelins are a 40-meter stiffness, our female competition javelins are a 50-meter stiffness, and our elite female javelins are a 60-meter stiffness. So as those numbers go up, the stiffness of the javelin increases, which is going to allow you to throw the javelin farther. One question we get asked a lot is, do I have to throw 50 meters, which is quite a far throw, to be able to use a 50-meter javelin? Absolutely not. The meter rating system is just to measure the stiffness of a javelin. So you could be throwing 30 meters and use an 80-meter javelin if you prefer that stiffness and still get a great advantage of it. So do not be scared away by a large number. They're only there to measure the stiffness of the javelin, which is going to help you throw the javelin further. So let's talk rubber tips. Please look very closely at these. These are both legal 600-gram rubber tips on 2 legal 600-gram javelins. You will notice the rubber tips are not the same size. This is okay because there is a range of what is acceptable. This is a key point. A rubber tip is specifically designed for the javelin that it is attached to. Why this is important to you? If this is a Polanic javelin, this is a 4 throws javelin. If a rubber tip falls off your Polanic javelin and you take a 4 throws rubber tip and attach it on, it's not going to work correctly. So if you have a 4 throws 600-gram javelin, your rubber tip replacement needs to be a 4 throws 600-gram rubber tip replacement. If you have a Nordic javelin, your rubber tip needs to be a Nordic rubber tip replacement. You cannot mix and match rubber tips. So we have conveniently made a rubber tip replacement kit that we can send you. It comes with a rubber tip, it comes with glue, and it comes with a little popsicle stick to be able to attach the glue. You just clean the metal surface that's blunted on the tip. You just clean it off, apply the glue, put the rubber tip on, and then you're pretty much good to go. Very simple, very cheap way. You do not need to buy a whole new javelin. Use our rubber tip replacement. We sell them for all the javelins that we sell. The biggest question we get asked is, what is the difference between a cheap javelin and an expensive javelin? What am I paying for? The number one thing that you're paying for in a high quality javelin is the stiffness of a javelin, because stiff javelins fly farther. Soft javelins do not fly far. Okay? And you can actually tell when a very strong athlete throws a soft javelin, it'll wobble through the air. Once he releases it, it wobbles. Okay? Now, it's wobbling really quickly, so you might see it like this, but in slow motion, it's like this. And what that's doing is one, it's a lot of wasted energy, and it's hitting a lot of air while it flies. So it's not aerodynamic, and the javelin isn't going to fly very far. So people spend the extra money to get stiff javelins, because stiff javelins do not wobble, right? They're not like a noodle. They're stiff, and they pierce through the air, making them more aerodynamic. Now, this is a key point, though. Stiff javelins are tough on the body. So if you are a beginner athlete and you're just learning how to train and your joints are a little weak, you don't want to throw a stiff javelin because that could cause injury. So to review, the common javelin weights are 600 grams for females and 800 grams for males. So you could ask yourself, why does 4 throws sell so many different weights? Because we sell 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900 gram javelins. There are 2 reasons why we have all these special weights. The first one is age. Yes, I did say that women throw the 600 gram javelin, but at extremely young ages, they actually throw a 300 gram javelin, which we supply. Also, people in the masters leagues, as well as elderly, sometimes throw 700 gram javelins or 500 gram javelins. So we supply those because one of the advantages of 4 throws is that we specialize only in throwing equipment. We're able to provide a wide variety of implements. 4 throws can be a one-stop shop for everything throwing. So that's the first point, ages. But the second advantage is different training techniques. So let me give you an example. As a woman, you throw a 600 gram javelin. However, there are advantages in having a 500 gram javelin, which is slightly lighter, because you're able to practice your speed of throwing. Some coaches also like to purchase a heavier javelin. So if you're a 600 gram javelin as a woman, sometimes they'll purchase a 700 gram javelin, which is slightly heavier, to be able to practice your strength. So depending on your training needs, you can go light or heavier than your standard weight. A completely different kind of javelin is known as the fin flyer, and this is used in middle schools. One of my favorite things about the fin flyer is that it's very safe, both for the athlete and those around them. So for the athlete, like we discussed, stiff javelins are often hard on the joints. This fin flyer is actually very flexible, so you can give it to a beginner athlete and not have to worry that they're going to hurt themselves. An additional thing is that the tail is blunted, and the tip is slightly blunted as well. So in the very bad situation that an athlete happens to throw this and accidentally hit somebody, it's not going to hurt them too bad. So they're also very safe for those around them, hence why we use them in middle schools. The fin flyer comes in 3 different types. We have a rubber grip, We also have a plastic grip, and we have a real Javelin handle grip. The real Javelin handle grip is the most expensive. It's my personal favorite because it replicates the real Javelin handle so that athletes are training with the real handle they're going to use once they get into high school. The newest addition to the Fin Flyer family is known as the First Flyer, and it's used for kids even younger than in middle school.